Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Ooh, talk slow, sister.
So many episodes that need to be done. First of all, you may have noticed, no Nerdist.
Yeah, we're not on Nerdist anymore.
Nobody is.
Yeah, they stopped doing podcasts.
I don't know why they would let loose this cash cow.
Terrible business decision on their part.
Well, the funny thing about podcasting is they're like, your podcast is canceled. Really? Okay, we're recording in a garage. We're still going to do our podcast.
Well, I was just worried they'd take our theme song, but since we're not leaving them, they don't care, which is nice. They could have taken it,
yeah,
right?
they could have done any
and they
number
could have
of things.
said we own the archives, but they don't want anything to do with podcasts anymore.
Right, then we would have had to turn the image of the picture over so that I was on that side and you were on the other side, and then change the name to be the Laurie and Jackie Show.
That was my long-term plan.
That's a great long-term plan.
It. Yeah, I look like a hero putting your name first, and then we flip it and become famous. Yes. Damn it.
Right. Oh my God! Oh, I had Ryan Singer on the Dork Forest. I did 1,000 Dork Forests.
Yeah, so we're doing 2 today,
right?
And then we're doing a couple this week.
Yep,
because we're anticipate you have a ton of road work, and then you're going to Bangkok.
Yeah, I'm going to Cambodia and Vietnam and all that. I got a set in Hanoi that is confirmed. The set in Bangkok not confirmed.
Where are you working in Hanoi? Is there a comedy? Is there a funny bone there?
Yuck Yucks? I have no idea what the name. I don't know what the comedy club is.
It's just like in a bar.
It might be a
like
one-nighter. Yeah, it might just be a 4-wall kind of sitch.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to hear about this.
I know, me too. I'm kind of excited as well. What will happen?
Jesus,
fireworks.
Oh, wow. Is there? Okay. It sounds like a mad dad.
Sounds like a mad dad who are sick of the. He's like, quit having fun. You're outside. Use your outside. Wait a minute.
That wasn't. It sounded like a grenade in Burbank.
It was not.
Okay, I don't know what that was, but a car.
Well, it's our last episode, you guys. How weird would that be if we kept? How weird would it be if we kept recording?
What a bunch of psychopaths we are. North Korea just declared war, and we're like, hey, I'm going to be at Stand Up New York this weekend, which is on the other coast, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Are you going to New York this week?
I'm going Friday night, doing my JetBlue special, and I'm doing 3 shows at Stand Up New York, the 6, the 8, and the 10. I'm doing one at the Stance pop-up in between the 6 and the 8. I'm doing one at the Broadway, the 9 o'clock show at the Broadway, and then I'm doing like maybe a midnight show or an 11 o'clock show at Greenwich Village. So I have 6 spots.
Wow.
It's like 1 an hour. They're pretty, and they're all on the west side of Manhattan.
Good.
So they'll,
they should line up
and down.
Good.
Yeah, I should be able to get to everything on time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Ted Alexandro did the Dork Forest. He recorded that episode because he has a new special out.
He is so funny. He's one of my favorite comics.
He's one of my favorite comics.
He also he did Conan on Tuesday, I think.
Oh, that's right. That's why he was in town.
Yeah, super funny. And he did this great set. Did we talk about this? Or no, it's been a while, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He did a set at the Cellar where he's talking about Louis and the allegations and that it happened right there at the him coming back was at the Cellar and Ted is at the Cellar. It's a great
It's a
great
6-minute clip. He does that stock line kind of, hey, thanks a lot for clapping almost till I make it to the mic.
Yeah.
And then he freaking bam. Nails Louis. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I was describing him to him because the whole thing about Ted Alexandro is that he's the kind of comic that you want him to like you.
Yes.
And so it's a sign of the Dork Forest when I want the guest to like me is that I tend to talk more than they do in an effort.
Jackie, can I extrapolate from that and tell you I like you?
And that's why I talk more on this podcast because I really want you to like me.
Dude, it's happened. It already happened.
Shut up.
Yeah, take a pause. Fucking breathe, okay? I like you.
Okay, so, but he... he's the kind of comic that Ted Alexandro is that he's casually sane white guy.
Yeah.
He's laid back. He talks about very real, very serious issues sometimes.
Yes.
There's punchlines always, which I always enjoy.
Yeah, he's a great joke writer, and his rage is, there's there's a kind of shouting rage, which is,
ranty.
That's like the toddler emotion, which, okay, I guess you people are going to go for that. I saw some of that.
A lot of comics do it.
I saw some last night. This guy, but it's always like they're always raging about like fucking airline, whatever. That guy, he was raging.
Yeah, of course,
I'm like,
he was.
oh, what are you mad about?
Yeah,
I just mad.
There's absolutely
nothing to be
for
mad
that guy
at.
to be mad about.
It's some inconvenience in his white male life. He was mad about raging.
There's a hint.
His hair was standing up. Like
Oh,
his
my
hair
God.
was actually wild. So, but Ted is super subtle. And he sneaks it in there.
Yep.
His point.
Right.
And
It's not overt.
He wraps it in.
That's not true. It is overt, especially in that 6-minute set. He's not. But there's always punchlines, and it's always smart. And
but his delivery is also super like
laid back.
Super laid back. And even if he says something that, like this guy, if this guy said he'd be ranting, you'd be uncomfortable or wouldn't really get a laugh. Ted is so laid back; he can really get away with a lot more stuff. It's a great lesson in comedy. Watch Ted.
Yeah,
watch his set. Just see what he gets away with.
He's got a new special on. It's something like Graduating Class of Earth or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's on atcspecials.com.
That's Bill Burr's thing, right?
Al Madrigal's thing.
And it's Al Madrigal? I thought
Bill Burr is also involved, but they do it together. But everyone calls it that Bill Burr thing, and I always call it that Al Madrigal thing.
Sure, I got it.
Just because they both do it, and I've had Al on the Dork Forest a couple of times, and his first dorkdom was literally about how he was the up in the air guy. You remember George Clooney's character in Up in the Air, who'd go around and fire people? That was Al Madrigal's day job for 15 years.
Well, I thought didn't his dad own a company or something?
His mom did.
Oh, okay.
His mom had that company, where they fired people. And so nobody's more, business-wise, Al Madrigal's a great comic.
Yeah.
But business-wise, nobody's more savvy than Al, I think.
God.
And that's what all things comedy, that's why Dork Forest is with it, is because he wants it to be a vehicle for comics that then he can, sort of like Nerdist, sell it to some conglomerate, and then he could split all the money, but everyone owns their own shows, as opposed to Nerdist, which often was going to keep them.
Are you pitching me on all things comedy right now?
I'm not. Okay. I'm not actually, because right now we're solo.
Yeah.
And we have a Patreon, we have a website,
mm-hmm.
and we have someone to do the website, and we have someone doing the Twitter account.
Yeah, we have help.
So we don't actually need one yet. But if someone wanted to ask us, I think we've already been asked by 2.
Yeah, let's see what's out there.
Let's take our thousands of listeners.
Well, we should have more listeners, and maybe
we will.
We want to maybe if we go to a network, find one where more. I mean, most of our listeners are they female?
I don't know. I get a lot of dudes who come up to me and say that they love the show, but
is it? All right.
But it's mostly young comics.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Is that.
That's why we have an ever-expanding potential listener base, because we have more long-term potential than any other podcast in America, honestly.
No money. Nobody. You all have $12 a year. Get on goddamn Patreon. And so that's why we didn't do tiers, so that everybody could be in.
Mm-hmm.
But I had coffee last night with a young comic who he's a year and a half in.
Yeah.
He knew you. He looks up to you, Kyle. Oh. You're the stepping stone. He thought that I was an unattainable goal as far as having coffee with.
You are so attainable, Jackie.
Such an attainable goal. You're going to buy me a cup of coffee? Sure. You want to talk about comedy? Yes. That sounds lovely. You are going to ask me for advice, and I'm like, I'm going to give you advice that you should or should not take, whatever you want to do with it, right?
I am attainable if you want to do a chore. I have like rugs that need to be moved. I just realized I'm like, I should move my rug back because as soon as you walk in the house, you step on it and there should be a little space. But then I'd have to lift up 15 things of furniture. So
we do have hours to kill here. Yeah. Keep talking about this fucking rug. Anyway.
I'm just saying, anyone who could lift a couch and a big, a coffee table. Yep. And would like some comedy advice while you're doing it? Let's talk.
Maria's doing that thing in different towns on Twitter where she's like, anyone want to listen to my hour over coffee? I'll buy you a coffee and a scone. So of course, 1,000 people are like, yeah.
Really? So what happens if she gets more than...
She picks the first one who...
Wow.
That she goes with. They meet in a public place. She talks to them. They're often comics. Sometimes they're comics. Sometimes they're comics and they don't laugh. And she's like, this is not what I was looking for. Sometimes they're super fans, and they're so excited that she has to sort of go talk them down before she goes into the bit. And in all cases, she likes to get to practice her hour in front of a new person. And oftentimes it's a person who can't afford to come to the show.
Really? Oh.
So then they get a personal one-on-one show that they're psyched about. And a cup of coffee. And
I would only worry that that's not the same experience as performing in front of a crowd.
At all. And to some extent, she's just running lines, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But she's also generating a lot of material.
She writes so much material that she has to run lines.
Right.
To get sort of the verbiage right.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I did this, what I was planning on doing for like 2 weeks is I transcribed a set, and it took 2 hours to do 7 minutes.
What?
And I still have like 7 more minutes to go. Because I would like write down what I wrote. I would type what I wrote, and then I would type out any ideas on all caps that I thought could work off of it. And then I would go walk around the house and eat something, and then I would do that again. I gained about 30 pounds. It's very painful to It's weird when I was trying to figure out this one joke a couple months ago. I just wrote it out as I remembered it. And then I left a space in between each line. Like I just wrote each sentence. And then after I'd written the whole thing, so it's just giant series of lines. It's not really a paragraph. I just kept looking, right, after each sentence, that's a hole. Now, is there an extra joke there? Or can that be tightened up or whatever? So I kept, and I was able to
I don't even know what to call that. It's not like you're annotating. It's not like you're doing notes, or it's kind of like you're riffing on old jokes to try to find more jokes, right? Is that
no. It's not. It wasn't an old joke. It was one that I was still frustrated with.
So they're current sets that you just you chose a set to transcribe.
Yeah, so I just did a set at UCB at the Inner Sanctum, which I was. It was Peter Kim's show, and it was really fun, and it was full. I've never been in the Sanctum when it's full. Every time I'm there, it's like the 6 other performers on the show.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, this will be whatever. And then I get there, I'm like, oh, this is fucking awesome. There's like a band playing up front and whatever. Right. It's great. And then I thought, well, I didn't have anything new, and I hadn't done the work I wanted to do on these jokes yet, where I just kept driving to a gig and kind of looking at notes ahead of time, but not really just sitting down and like fucking writing it out. And so I thought, all right, this is a good crowd. I'm just going to talk slow. Like sometimes that's all I can do to try to trigger some new lines is to talk slow.
Yeah.
Right. So I just sort of, I started with a joke I've been doing for a while, and I just did it really slow. And then that started me in a really slower rhythm. Mm-hmm. And the audience was very receptive. It was a really good, they were on top of it crowd. So I kind of, came up with a couple extra ideas, and I was like, all right, now this is the one I'm going to transcribe. And just
to sort of hear where the silences are and what you can hear.
There's this happens to me all the time too, where a setup is too long. And I'll think, fuck, I got to fix this, and then do the joke, and then the show's over, and I totally forget about it until the next time on stage. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm in this middle of this clunky setup again.
Yep,
we need another joke here. So
I've been waking up with order changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just joke. I'm like, put that first, put that other thing.
Yeah.
And I did a show. Slowing down was interesting last night.
Like, just to say, like, I think if you're a comic and you're like, I have nothing new. It's all, if I haven't done anything new and it's all old shit, try talking really slow and seeing what bubbles up. That's
do one of the freak shows where you have to build a house while you try to tell your jokes. I did a show last night called Late Breakfast.
I heard.
And it was, the thing is that, first of all, did you see this lineup?
It was a great lineup, yeah.
This lineup, if everyone would have been allowed to do stand-up, holy smokes, it would have been an amazing...
HBO Young Comedian Special, 1992.
Look at this lineup. If these people had done stand-up comedy, this has been an amazing show.
So you guys didn't do stand-up?
Well, okay, let's see. Simon Gibson got up, and he had to bob for an apple.
While he was doing his
While
set?
he was trying to tell a joke he was trying to tell. Kara Clank got up. She had to make refrigerator pickles.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, she had to read a recipe on a screen behind her, put together, and make pickles.
Okay.
And so she couldn't even think about her jokes. She was busy trying to make nice pickles.
Right.
Sashir Zahada?
Yes.
Thank you. She had the three people who hosted genuinely heckled her, just started yelling stuff at her. At which point, the first time it happened, she walked off stage toward them and they ran. And it was actually, I mean, the thing about Late Breakfast is that it's such a freak show that it's hilarious.
Yeah,
but it was not
people
fun.
That enjoy watching that hate stand-up comedy.
Well,
they're sick of it.
I love, and then Will Miles got up. And Will Miles had a friend he has, one of the guys working the show, who ate an apple on mic next to him. Patrick Sussmilch got up. They threw balls at him. Every time he caught one, he had to dance. Phoebe Bottoms got up. Was it Phoebe? Yeah, I think she had to draw turkeys with her hand. And then, so she told stories about her own Thanksgiving experiences.
This doesn't happen in New York City.
No, I don't know where it happens.
Only a Los Angeles trend.
I've completely forgotten what Jordan Dahl had to do, but he looked very funny. Would have been nice. Langston Kerman, that's it. He had to carve a pumpkin. I was like, I know that guy's funny. I've seen him be funny before. Sure, it would be nice if I got to hear what jokes he was working on. And then I got up, and I had to do seasonal affective disorder.
What?
SAD is what it's called. And in this case, it meant that I had to do it like I was depressed, and then they shone a special light on me, and then I had to do it like I was happy. So, but I will tell you this, is I did the joke so I got to do the joke I wanted to work on.
Right.
And I had to slow it down and speed it up from the light.
Oh, interesting.
So it actually gave me something.
Okay.
It actually helped me.
Well, that's cool.
And then afterwards I went to the Ruby.
I like how you spent 10 minutes slamming the show, and then you're like, but it was good for me.
No, and I didn't slam the show. I slammed the whole premise of the item.
Yes.
And we've talked about the freak show thing before.
I agree.
And I don't know why I'm defending it like I want to do it again, because I don't necessarily, but they put so much work into it.
Yeah.
I wish that they could just fill the room. I mean, though everybody was having the time of their fucking lives except the comics. Nobody got to tell jokes. It was kind of a bummer. It was
I try not to...
all of the comics left after their sets.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like an LA left, I'm going to do another... I left because I had to go do another set.
Yeah.
But I was second to last. I had another set over at the new Meltdown space, the Ruby.
Oh, wait. Well,
there's a space over... Wait, do you want to talk about this?
No, but it's so... Stage time isn't... It's so valuable in Los Angeles that I just hate to spend it, running an obstacle course. I find telling a perfect joke enough of an obstacle.
Yes.
Finding figuring out the timing of it and trying to make sure it connects with 90%, say 80% of most audiences.
Right.
That's a huge obstacle for me.
That was the other thing I was talking to the young man I went to coffee with. He's in a year and a half. Mm-hmm. He started here. It's really hard to start here.
Yeah.
A year and a half is a crazy time in when you first start doing stand-up, because you're still throwing stuff at the wall. You're still trying to figure out if you're like, he says he does a character, and I was like, and then he told me like what he was talking about, and it was all based on his real life, the character, and I was like, well, why don't you just do that as you? And he's like, oh, I suppose I could, and I said, I mean, do whatever you want. And find your own way through that, right? The character. But what I was telling him was that at a year and a half, he does 4 or 5 open mics a week, which is good. Mm-hmm. And because he has a full-time, like a very pretty intense day job.
Yeah.
And so, but I told him at a year and a half, he said he just did his first book show.
Yeah.
And the stuff was too dark. It was too edgy because he just does open mics.
Yeah.
So he's just playing to the other comics. And there's an open mic, I guess, in the Valley where this guy locks the door.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
That is a fire hazard.
Well, it's not the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. It's all it is what it is he books 8 comics. Everyone gets 5 minutes. The show's only 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
But they lock the door so all 8 comics have to watch each other.
Oh, interesting.
But you're just performing for the other 8 comics.
Right.
He does 8 shows a night of that.
Oh my God, what?
And get this, each comic
What? Yeah.
pays a $5 fee. Guess who's paying his rent and making some money?
Oh, fuck.
That guy. But
I don't know what to make of that. So he is 64 $5. What is that? 6 times 5 is 3.
It's $3.20 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So $3.20 a night he's making.
How many nights a week?
Probably 4? 3?
There's that
Maybe
many
just one.
comics? Yeah. Just
There's
one
that
night
many
a week.
comics.
He does 8 45-minute shows a day?
In one day for sure.
In one
And then
day?
I
Or
think
he doesn't spread it out over the week?
that's what the kid told me.
No, I think he's like grinding out spots over the course of the week.
Oh, okay.
So is it like one a night?
That place with the 8 is open every night.
7 nights a week.
Oh, it
Okay.
does at least one show a night every.
4 shows a night.
4 shows a night, 7 nights a week, with 8 comics.
So that's like 7 times 150, right? 700. That's like about 1,000 a week.
Yeah.
But does he have to pay? Let's break
to
this
pay
guy's
rent.
life down.
Yeah, we can
No,
break
he has
this
to pay
guy's-
rent on the venue, right?
Right.
Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah, and he set up another stage in the parking lot.
Who is this person? I love them.
Maybe it's El Madrigal. We don't know.
I'm appalled and inspired.
Exactly.
It's wrong and right.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Right, but the point of the story, which is that I told him that he's got to do more book shows. He's got to get out. Well, no. I mean, and I'm not saying.
And then he should get on TV.
Right, and then he should be a millionaire. But no. But he was talking about because it was. I know why you're laughing. But what I'm saying is that we were talking about the importance of performing for non-comics.
Yes. And then beyond that, all different types of audiences.
Yes.
You don't want to just. When I was on the road for like 10 years straight and performing for only suburban white people, I was shocked when I moved to New York City. I mean, it took me a year to acclimate to the crowds there. You know, at least.
Yeah. I mean, you got to learn it's just a new skill. And it was.
It's also when you get up on stage, you have like in the road situation, the assumption, all right, we're all the same, right? I'm you, but I'm a comic, right? I'm a white girl, middle class. You guys are white, mostly middle class, whatever. And then New York, it's like, no, we're not white. We're not middle class. We're not American. We're not you at all, and we didn't just move here like you did. We grew up here, or some of us did move here, or some of us are so wealthy we could buy you. Like and they're all sitting in the same room that night, like all these people.
Right.
And you kind of have to figure out how to write jokes and perform. It's not just writing jokes. It's like being personally accessible in a way as a personality to all those different types of people.
Right. Yeah, the road stuff I did was so diverse as far as like farm towns and cow towns and mining towns and military base. I mean, I was just, it was the Dakotas and Nebraska and Iowa and Illinois and Wisconsin and Michigan. And that was pretty much what I did.
It's mostly white though, right?
It was white, but it was a variety but it was more small town than suburban.
Up and down at more down the economic scale then?
Yeah, just more. It was literally, it felt a lot more blue collar and a lot more white trash and a lot more.
Right.
Every dime I'm going to save up, buy a snowmobile, and then drive from bar to bar.
But you made so much
Saturday night.
much money selling snowmobiles after your show. I mean, admit that.
Well, it was a timeshare. I did a lot of timeshares after the show. It's I never had merch until the very end. So of those driving years, and maybe when I go back to the driving years.
We're all going back to the driving years. I'm looking forward to it in a way.
You're alone.
It always sounds good when you're not doing it.
Right?
Everything sounds good when you don't have to do it.
I know. Okay, so 2 women comics realized when I said last episode that the squeaky wheel issue for the Dork Forest is that I was booking a lot of straight white guys because straight white guys are squeaky wheels. They were raised to be squeaky wheels. You don't ask and then not ask again, or just check in. I mean, you're not.
Yeah.
I get emails a lot from a lot of comics, and a lot of them are the guys who get booked. Like, are the ones who every 3 or 4 weeks go, just checking in. How's your schedule?
Yeah.
And all the people, like all the black and brown people I know, and all the women I know are like, well, I asked 3 months ago. I didn't want to bother you.
Yeah.
And you're like, you got to bother. And I was raised to bother, so I win. So I will always bother, but it's I would encourage bothering me, because I will mostly delete all of your old emails, keep the newest one, and then you're at the top of the list if there's time.
You also pay for coffee.
Oh, I serve coffee at the Dork Forest. Yes, I do.
Somebody asked me about they're trying to send a tape to the Booker of Conan. First of all, Conan, it was kind of a historic week for us. Thursday was his last hour-long show, and this is after almost 25 years. I think over 25 years. I think September was the actual 25th year anniversary of doing hour-long network shows, and then an hour-long late-night show. And so we're switching to a half hour starting in January. Basically, he's doing... There are probably going to be a lot more stand-ups on the show.
That is awesome.
Conan is doing stand-up. He's popping up all over town in Los Angeles preparing for this tour he's doing.
Right.
And
you're doing 4 dates with him.
I'm doing 4 dates. That's right.
That's great.
Yeah. San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, and Denver.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna finally have the Jackie-cation life.
Oh, you're like because his travel people will book your travel.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah,
and hotel, very exciting.
But so that was kind of a big week. So someone had emailed me about getting a set to our booker, and I was like, sit on it for a couple months.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is the case for every booker. But what I said to her, which is something I did when I submitted a set to him, is put your set on YouTube and hide it. Don't say in the comments or the of the YouTube
title?
video, hey Jimmy, like at least don't let everyone know you're throwing it out to every single late night host.
Oh, right.
So just put late night.
You're right. There's on YouTube. There's private. There's published with a link or something.
Yeah. You give
people know how to use YouTube.
Yes, or Vimeo. Vimeo's really good. And then you just send that information to the booker. And also, I think this helps transcribe the set, even time it out. Time out how long each joke is, because that's another problem you have, a hurdle you have to overcome once, we like the set is liked, then you have to make sure it's 5 minutes or whatever. So I
Right.
think that if you
do it for them, they don't have to do it. And everything that you make easier for
Right.
whoever you submit to, and this is true if you're submitting to Colbert or
Yeah.
anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, why don't you give them a transcript so
And
that
then
they
a
can glance
transcript
at it?
also helps you as well.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Transcript. Nothing wrong with a transcript.
Right.
I've always, I have all of my albums transcripted, and then
You don't do it yourself.
No, I paid somebody.
Oh my god.
And then I can word search for
oh, that's right.
if I'm looking for. Well, and I only did the transcription of my first albums just to make sure I wasn't duplicating it on my next album.
Yeah.
It was when I was writing the set list to do Hero.
You have a lot of albums. If you
I
can't
do.
remember, I think I'm close to having maybe enough for another album. It'll be a little while.
If you were a storyteller, you'd be home already. No, it would be. Yeah, you'd have. I mean, it's the storytelling stand-up is. It's a clock eater. There's just more words.
I'm trying to get a new literary agent because I want to write another book.
Oh, in addition to the coffee table book that I want,
What's the coffee table book you want?
the Hillary Clinton.
I want to write it as a book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And then that makes the world a lot bigger and you
Yeah, it
can
does.
dig a lot deeper. So I'm right now I'm reading Fear. I'm reading all the Trump books that are out now. I got Fire and Fury. I got I'm getting Stormy Daniels is coming out pretty. Fear is the Woodward book.
Good Lord.
It's a lot to dip yourself into, but
Yeah,
if
this
you can
sounds
just
like a
yeah,
recipe for. So I saw some comic last night in between sets or something. I was just hanging out with a bunch, and he goes, "Man, women are going to be killing themselves, I think."
what we're gonna be
that's-
killing you, motherfucker. Not
That's what I
themselves.
was like. Yeah, I'm not. You think I'm going to suicide over Mike Pence or Brett Kavanaugh or Donald Trump? You can fuck yourself. I'm not going to suicide over any of those bastards.
This was
Not unless I can take them with me.
I know. Okay, first of all,
But he thought he was being supportive.
oh God,
Fuck
you
off.
don't understand rage. It's a
Yes.
Colbert writer, and I don't want to use her name because she's already getting.
She doesn't need the guff.
Right. So she tweeted something that was deeply sarcastic, and of course the right wing didn't get it and took it at face value.
They are
And
so fucking dumb.
so they got mad, and then the media guy at CNN, Brian Stetzer,
Also didn't get it.
No, I thought he tweeted her apology because she was just hammered, right?
Right.
Somebody found it and said Colbert writer, and then that's of course a dog whistle to everybody who wants to. They love going after female late night writers.
Right,
You know, I mean,
right.
it's been 3 now, right? There's
Yeah.
somebody from SNL and another Colbert writer have had a Twitter mob jump on a tweet that either they didn't get or maybe.
It was full of rage.
Maybe you needed one more word. Whatever. I don't know. It's
Sometimes
fucking-
you need one more word in a tweet, you guys.
Yeah, but they think
You should
that's
see
the
my
same.
drafts folder.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the same as Roseanne. In their mind, that's the same as Roseanne tweeting racist shit and getting fired. They want a head. They
Yeah.
always want things to
Yeah,
be
they wanna
equal, even
see.
though they're never equal. So Brian Stetzer tweeted, I might be saying his last name wrong, tweeted, Colbert writer and her name, and she tweeted an apology. And so that brought even, 10 million more people to her
Right.
feed. And so she's just been
Via
sort of under,
CNN.
pardon me?
Under siege.
Yeah, under,
You know what, this amount of joy. Oh, is it?
does it bother you?
Really, so we're probably all right.
It's the,
There's
it's
childhood joy in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
and I
it's-
can't stand
It's
it.
happiness of children.
There's a reason I'm barren.
Do you want me to close the garage door?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. I just thought we could
It's
have
much
like
nicer.
the breeze. Yeah.
Oh, the breeze is quite nice.
Yeah. So she's, like, that's the problem now is one tweet from a female writer. It's, and he was sworn in yesterday. I mean, there's so much, I don't know that I can say anything that hasn't been said by everybody already. And there's so many think pieces. I don't know what I'm so shocked that we're still here, and I'm so shocked that our and then I'm like, am I shocked? We were founded by slave owners. Like, I think the first 13 presidents, except for both of the Adamses, were slave owners. And someone else had tweeted,
But you know what the Adams did?
What?
They benefited from the slave trade secondarily.
Oh.
Because they would drop the slaves off and then take the boats up to Boston and
Really?
and fill it up with lumber and tea, or lumber and other stuff, and it was part of the route.
Wow.
They were in the route.
So, I mean, the nation has been worse. But I think now it's almost it's
Well, they said-
it's more white people getting angry about things being unfair than ever before. I mean, it's white people going, wait a
finally.
minute, this is bullshit.
What's happening? I know. It's like I'm working. I have all these bits that are so new, but they're getting good response. And they're all about, essentially, vaguely about white responsibility and being angry and justifications and the steep learning curve and all these things, and they're fine. I don't know that I'll get them to tape before somebody else gets them to tape,
Right.
Because I'm sure it's in the zeitgeist. I'm sure everybody's doing something like this.
Sure. But
But-
you know what? Every time you're up in front of an audience, that's your time.
That's my time, and they're the jokes I'm writing, so I'm going to do them. And if other people, get the same punchlines and get on television or write or get albums or whatever, or get Netflix specials and do them, then I won't put it on the next album. But there was a point to this. I wonder what the fuck it was. I zoomed off into my career woes.
White. Hey, that's
That's the new name of the show, by the way. Career woes.
Well, yeah, I'm just overall this week was just so distressing, and I mean the things I didn't tweet but thought about Susan Collins. It's like rape threats. I mean, my brain is, if I was a right wing troll, I'd be really good at it. I would just hide. I'd have it anonymous. I would go after everybody in the most horrific way because I don't have compassion. I would like people that are awful to be terrorized, and I want things stuck in their orifices repeatedly and painfully. Yeah, like I and Chris Coons
and
already
you're trained to eviscerate them.
Yes,
verbally.
I wish female comics need to, if they're from red states, they need to move back to their red states and run for office. Who better in a debate will there be than a fucking female headliner who's done the road? Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, do a couple TV spots, get your comedy career out of your system, and then move back to Ohio or move back to Iowa or Wisconsin, and then
I'm not
murder,
moving back to Wisconsin.
crush these
I'm
people,
so sorry.
Crush them.
I would love to crush them. It's I was surprised because I from weeks ago I knew he was a shoo-in because they need him, they want him, they don't care. They're full of hate and horror. So I knew from the beginning that they were going to freaking ramrod this guy in.
Right.
What surprised me was how much it hurt. It genuinely, I was hurt. And so I was just sitting there, and do you see what I tweeted, what Andy said? It was, because I was just sort of sitting there dejected, and he came over and gave me a hug, and so we were sitting there for a while, and then he got up, and I said, and then we were going out somewhere, because where were we going? Target? Anyway, so, but we had to go live our whitey bungoo lives.
Yeah.
And so, I said, well, you probably need a hug too. And he said, that's not what this moment is for. It is not for you as a woman to give me a man solace right now. And I was like, how about as one American to another? And he went, oh my God, I'll take that. And so, because it's also an indictment. This is the third branch of the government now. And that they control, and this is not good.
It's not good, and
allow me to understate.
His presidency is not legitimate.
Nope.
He was aided by Russia. I don't know if the Senate is legitimate or not. It might be, but maybe people
We'll find out
coming out
November
to vote
7th.
for Trump also voted, made the Senate red again. So, but that's maybe the Senate's Republican dominance is legitimate or not. But he in the White House is not legitimate. He picked a Supreme Court justice that is not legitimate that they shoved through. I mean, it's awful.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
and here's the thing is that and I've said this for 2 years, is that if we get out of this with all three branches intact, I'll be surprised. But I don't know, does it count if they're intact, if they're completely corrupted?
Here's the thing that we Democrats and people that don't vote, we let them get away with it. And we should have been out on freeways after Bush v. Gore, because that's when it started. That's when it was a 5-4 split, and the Republicans gave it to a guy who didn't win Florida and didn't win the popular vote.
Yeah.
So, and after that, it was like, oh, hey, well, let's declare war on Iraq, and let's go along with Trump. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, these are dark times. There's nothing we can do about the present, or but live it and try to make the future better.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. It means that looking back at where the errors were is going to be a job for historians.
Yeah.
What we're doing now is what you're doing now. You know, you're facing every day, and you're trying to make people laugh, and also raise a decent young man, and you fight the fight in front of you. That's what we all have to do.
I mean, you do have to look at like 100 years ago, or maybe 200 years ago. The Supreme Court was nominated by a slave owner, and they nominated slave owners. So, I mean, it's been worse. But
Right.
the people, nobody. Not
The
enough
ideals
people were
are not
complaining
being held
because
up.
they were slaves and they weren't allowed to complain, or they
Right.
were white women and they were part of it. You know, I mean, there were a few outliers that were considered witches. But, I mean, it's in a way, it's like America's always been. It's never lived up to what it promises ever, and it
but
still
there's
doesn't.
been incremental.
Yes,
right.
yes.
And we were lucky because there were a lot of resources. So even the poor people in America got to eat and get education. So,
Some of them, yeah. My mom and I had many discussions.
yes,
All
were
of
they
them
discussions? Were
loud.
they loud?
Yeah, I mean,
She's getting information from a different source.
Yes. And I tried to make her watch Trump make fun of Ford.
Yeah.
And she put her hands in front of it and said, I don't want to. She said, he probably shouldn't have done that. And then I was like, probably, what the fuck? And so it's been a lot of that kind of tension this week. That's also very exhausting. This whole thing it's so tiring and exhausting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Which is why that guy probably thinks we're going to give up and kill ourselves. Guess what? You never been tired? You don't know anything about working the road, my friend. You don't know anything about being a comic if you've never been. I mean, I've been this tired before, and fuck it.
You know,
I can sleep when I'm dead.
all these
So.
white men who are complaining about being singled out for being white men. Mm-hmm. I can't believe you don't get that everyone who's not a white man has been singled out for being whatever they are for their entire lives. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time you're feeling what that's like.
Yeah.
If you're a white male on a stand-up show and it's been pointed out.
So this guy I know.
You know how many
old-
times I've been brought up on stage pointing out that I was a woman? You know,
Yeah.
like it's astonishing. And you guys, you're finally
and your body parts.
You're kind of getting the treatment that we've been getting. Kind of.
Not
kind
even.
of. You weren't raised in it, so you're so used to it you just accept bullshit. Like you guys are appalled because you weren't raised to be singled
To just
out like
accept
this,
it.
to be treated like a white male. You guys, it's appalling. You know, we were from babies. That's how we were raised and we were conditioned. And so it's even hard for us to even figure out a way to fight back because we're told by our mothers,
Just suck it up.
This is what you are.
Yep.
I don't have a credit card. I'm not allowed to. Oh, well, I'll just, what in my situation,
I'll just save
my
dimes.
mother. Right.
My grandmother used to save dimes just for a rainy day. So he told me he's taking this class.
Right.
And for the first time ever, so he's taking like a martial arts class.
Okay.
And he said he has to fight strangers to learn martial arts. This is a comic.
Yeah.
And he said a bigger guy than him, and he's not a small guy, grabbed him and literally started manhandling him. And because you're supposed to really fight it off. And he said he said it felt gross. And he kept trying to explain to me how it felt to be grabbed against one's will. And I was like, yeah. I don't even know how, because he was like it, and he was explaining that it was a curtain had been ripped away, and he had this realization, and you're like, good.
But you're in a class, so nothing's going to happen. So
Right.
even that curtain is a fake curtain. It's
Right.
a false reveal.
Right.
It's not true.
Right. It's not, I mean, the teacher will stop him.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no teacher in an alley.
There's no teacher in an alley when you're being held against a wall. So, yeah, it's completely insane. When do we want to do the comic of the week?
Oh.
Because where are we? Like 40?
We are at 45.
45.
What the fuck?
TikTok.
Let's do it now. Let's do her now.
Right. So we were going to go with Valerie Tosi, right?
Yes. I thought we had done her a long time ago.
Right, I know. It's but luckily we now have it all. It's not alphabetized. It's by episode, right?
No.
On
Right,
JackieandLaurieShow.com.
You are obsessed with first name alphabetizing.
Well, that's because then it's easier to
alphabetization.
check. It was easier to check.
You just do it. You Control F and you look for the name.
Fine. Fine, Bill Gates.
Command F. Sorry.
Okay,
I'm
so
I'm a
Valerie
Mac
Tosi,
person.
very funny, has a
Yes.
show called The Mermaid Comedy
Yeah.
Hour, and we've both done it.
Many times.
It's happening the night of this one. This is tomorrow, coming out tomorrow.
Yeah,
So tomorrow
yes.
night, so like the 8th? Yeah. My wedding anniversary. The 12th anniversary. What is it? Is it wing nuts? We never do anything. So,
But Valerie's thing
show is at the
tonight.
Improv.
Yeah. So it's an all-female comedy show, and she's
Yeah.
been doing it once a month for forever.
For
She used to
1,000
do-
years.
She used to do it at what's that improv
Nope.
space that closed down?
oh, iOS?
yes. Did
Oh,
iOS close
interesting.
down? Yeah.
It did. There was, and so, yeah, she did do it there, didn't she?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mermaid Comedy Hour. Valerie Tosi, she's really funny.
Yes,
And
very
I always
funny.
enjoy her sets. And
She's done every festival that there is available on this planet.
she's done every festival.
It's insane.
That's
she's done,
awesome.
Hundreds, it feels like. I've never seen her not on a festival.
Nina Manny was telling me that she did all the festivals. Nina Manny's an upcoming Dork Forest comic. And she did all the festivals using points and miles and never had to pay for a hotel or an airplane because she does the where you get credit cards with miles and that's her dorkdom. She talked about miles and points and stuff. But
How much stuff does she buy, though? I mean,
no, it's all she explained it. I was like, I hung up with her. Mm-hmm. And it's called Get to the Point Podcast. Mm-hmm. And she has a little workshop thing that
God.
every feature comic should take.
Oh, okay.
Because if you have any credit rating at all, which of course that's where it all falls apart, feature comics, because I know I didn't have a credit rating when I was featuring.
I didn't know what one was.
Well, that's because you knew what HTML was.
No, I didn't know there was a credit rating.
Well,
I
it's
hadn't-
but the thing is like I couldn't get. It's if you can get credit cards and there's just fiddle and diddle you can do if you go
Yeah.
Get to the Point Pod, look for it. She's got a free PDF that you can look at.
Oh, that's cool.
To make sure that you're and try to and you can get free points and free miles. And she did all these festivals, but I wonder if Valerie Tosi did that. Or if she just saved up, or slept on couches, or was stacked like cordwood somewhere. Probably the second. The second, right, because she just went to every festival and did it. That sort of work ethic, you got to love it.
Yeah.
Hard working. That's Valerie Tosi, you guys. What is it? Valerie underscore?
TOSI.
TOSI.
Okay, that segues into something else I wanted to talk about. Janelle James.
Yeah.
She posted on Facebook that she was passed at the cellar and then she took a week off. She's like, you got to live a life. I was like, what? Like, I couldn't comprehend.
Right, she did the showcase, got
passed,
which means she gets to submit and get booked.
Your goal, you've been knighted by comedy in New York City, and that's all you want, really. That was like,
right?
That was life changing for me.
Yeah,
know? And then I got so depressed when they stopped using me. That was like when I was pregnant, and then
you stopped sending avails.
I think I did. Yeah, I think I forget. I've complained before. It was like a Tuesday. Like between 11 and 1 a.m. and I was like 8 months pregnant. I was like, this ain't. I'm being moved up, out, shipped out.
I'm gonna call it. So Janelle James decided to
take a week off and live a life. Is that bothering you? That noise? Can you hear it?
I mean, you hear a little bits of it. But
yeah.
Conversation's pretty good.
Okay. Is it bothering you, Jackie? There's a child is blaring a horn right now.
It's just someone has like a Sousa or blowing a horn.
Yeah.
This is my third podcast of the day. This is my third hour of talking.
You're trying to get it all in before you leave. And
yeah, because I got to have 6 in the can for the Dork Forest, and they all have ads, and then we got to have 5 here. And then both KP Anderson and Greg Behrendt, I did their podcasts.
No, those you could have said no to.
I know it. I don't know why I didn't. I also didn't say no to any sets.
Why would you do that? What are you, Janelle James?
Exactly. What I want to have some sort of life. I did play a board game or two. So this week, which made me feel a little more human. Why would you laugh at that? Why wouldn't that make you feel human? A social thing?
There was certainly no look on Laurie's face.
Oh, of recognition? No.
Right. Well, you spend quality time with your youngin'. You do some cuddling.
Yes, sometimes I do. I don't do that much. Jeez.
I know. You're like, come on, kid. Yeah, that game I gave you was for 12 and above. He's 11.
Thank you.
He can do it.
He turns 12 in a couple of weeks.
Does he turn 12 in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
All right. It's a big year for him.
I know. That's the year where you remember everything, right? Oh, hi, Mom. Can you do the treadmill right now?
Where is it?
It's right there. Yeah, we'll close his door.
Oh, it's in the laundry area?
Yeah, it should be fine. She doesn't run, but she walks like a quarter of a mile an hour.
I need her to run. It can't possibly be louder than the children.
Oh my god.
The
sound of children's laughter just repels.
clearly the sound of the joy of children's. It just reminds me of my last day job.
To do all day, and then when I'm doing, which I told her, I said we're doing a podcast.
She's like a cat. Out. She wants to come lay on your keyboard when you're trying to type.
She walked with that cane like she's a dowager queen in Edwardian England.
Oh, so speaking of that, where are we at?
We are at 52.
52. Should I go into this or?
You got a whole other one.
Wait,
it's
hold
true.
On. Oh, I was on the show, this kind of goofy show at a bookstore I picked up. Danielle Perez gave me a spot.
Oh, right.
Because she couldn't do it. I was because I didn't have anything happening on Friday.
I know.
I don't deserve it. I haven't been in the business long enough to have my fucking Fridays booked. So, but it was kind of cool. It was fun. And,
it wasn't Sumac Tolgulkers.
No, it was Alias Books.
Okay.
And, they're 2 comics that have a podcast called V Single. Mm-hmm. I think it's V Single. Anyway, I started listening to it, and it's about dating, and I'm just like, I'm not for this world. I'm not. People, it's.
Wow, you top me not liking children by saying I'm not for this world.
But I mean, there are people actively. I don't even know how to say this without just saying it. Eating ass, like that's a popular thing.
Oh, right. Like sort of like touching people.
Oh my God. What? Did she just scream?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Oh my God. I can't take it. She just screamed.
Yeah.
This is nonstop.
I like that you didn't actually put down the microphone and go check on her.
Everything's copy. Everything's copy. That's Nora Ephron's mom.
Okay.
But how would I ever date, Jackie?
Well, you don't have
I don't want to put my mouth on anyone's
somebody's
ass.
anus. Yeah, I know.
That is revolting.
There seems to
and
be
I don't want a mouth on mine. What's happening out there? What are they doing?
I don't have any defense of that. I'm not doing it. Is that what you needed to hear? It's a lot of silence from Clark over here, but no comments. It's something. It might be generational. Whatever it is I'm sure it feels good for somebody, and. So
I can't.
You can't stand the idea of it.
I can't on either side of it. Like there's no
giving.
There's
and
no
receiving.
shower long enough to make me feel safe on either side.
What about a nice Arm & Hammer toothpaste? Is that something that might help out?
No. Afterwards, no.
Nope. No, I know. I think that there are things that were happening in porns with a Z.
Yes.
That people saw and they were like, well, I think I want to try that.
Or they feel like they have to because they think that's what sex is.
Right. And they forget that people who do porns have literally done everything. And you literally have to invest in a chainsaw up their ass, out their ear to make them orgasm. Mm-hmm. And on that note, I think... Are we at an hour?
I think we're at 55. This is a pretty good place to dismount.
55? Oh, where's the justice there? We leave Nerdist and we leave 5 minutes behind. It's sort of like pouring a bottle out at Jim Morrison's grave, you guys.
Well, I think we could go to an hour.
Let's keep talking. No, here's the thing about dating is that you can tell an adult man that you don't want to touch his anus and he doesn't want you to.
But all these 55-year-olds out there, they're like, oh, girls are doing that now. I want that done.
Well, they're going to want to get with a 24-year-old then who's
honestly, why would a 24-year-old girl want to lick a 55-year-old man's ass?
It does sound like some sort of penance. It does not sound like something sexy to me at all. Did you know I'm writing a romance novel?
No, but I do. But when I think about dating, I'm like, I don't want to have this discussion with a guy.
Do you know that I referred to the penis I actually was so angry. I did a set the other night. I said, because I yelled at this guy in the front row about, and I've started noticing guys when I start talking about flirting and how it's not harassment or whatever.
Yeah.
And guys and I've literally just been like, guys, if you've slapped an ass, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, it is, but correct your own guilt. I don't have time to micromanage your guilt.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I said something the other night that didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. There was no punchline, and I don't know where to go with it, and I don't even know that I should, but I referred to a man's genitalia as a pee-hole wand.
Sure.
Pee-hole wand? It doesn't sound like I'm writing a romance novel when I call something a pee-hole wand, but there's a lot of euphemisms. I finished the sex chapter.
Oh, hey. So wait, your romance novel just has sex in one chapter? See, that's the kind of fucking dating I'm into. All right?
Right. But the sex has got to be tab A, slot A, is what we've learned with Laurie Kilmartin.
Yes, definitely. I'm very old-fashioned.
Right. Is there a sheet with a hole in it? Wait. That's a little too old-fashioned.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a Klan reference, but that's a Hasidic reference, right?
Yeah, it's a Hasidic.
Okay.
It's in the Talmud.
I'm tired.
we
have to do a whole nother one.
But we're there.
We are.
All right. Thank you, our Patreons.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
It
makes us feel like, hey, this is worthwhile.
And I'm going to listen to episode 2 and see if it's worthwhile and post it.
And then I will be in New York City on Saturday night only, October 13th. You can check my Twitter feed, or I listed all the spots earlier.
I'm doing the Virgil on Wednesday, but then on Thursday, I'm flying to D.C. with Maria. We're doing D.C. on Friday night and Munhall, Pennsylvania on Saturday night.
Will you have time to go to the Supreme Court and just
whiz on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
With your pee hole wand.
I'll rent a pee hole wand, and that's what I'll do on Twitter. I'll offer up and I'll say I'll hold your pee hole wand while you pee on it, if you would like to, and buy you a cup of coffee. Is that something? No, that seems dumb. I think we're done.
We have a whole nother one to do. Oh my God.